So thank you all for watching today's video. I am privileged to be with somebody who I think is a hell of a lot better at Instagram than I'll be. Julia Matheson is a travel advisor based out of North Carolina. Travel Julia's Way. You can find her on social and definitely check her out and start following her on Instagram because her photos and her videos are what we're going to talk about because I consider her a master at telling stories on Instagram, which is not easy. I'm going to just warn you right now, but we're going to pull up her highlights and we're going to kind of walk through them with you so you can see what she did and why I think she's so marvelous. So Julia, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. I hope I live up to them. Okay.
So Julia, you recently got back from an extensive trip out west. You started in California and then you flew down to Los Cabos. Mm-hmm. In Los Cabos, you stayed at two properties, LeBlanc and the Thompson. Mm-hmm. And just give us a little background about, how far in advance did you book the trip and, what were you thinking about it in terms of your business? And then we'll start talking a little bit about the amazing job you did on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah. So actually the Cabo trip had been booked for about a year because it was originally going to be my host agency conference. And so I don't know Mexico. It's not really a core part of my business or anything like that. But we had the hotel reservations. And when they canceled the conference, I want to say let's see, the trip was October. So sometime in August, I think they finally made the call and they said, no, our conference is obviously going to be virtual. But LeBlanc would still like to host those that are still interested in coming. And I had already gotten really excited about going to Cabo since I'd never been, and it would be a new place for me. And, in August, I don't know if you're like me, but I was really going stir crazy. So being able to go somewhere was really exciting. So I definitely knew that I wanted to go. And I also knew that I didn't want to fly all the way out west because I'm on the East Coast for 4 nights. I thought, if I've never been to Los Cabos and I want to really kind of understand the destination, let me try and stay in a very different kind of resort. So I specifically picked a non-all-inclusive. It's an EP property, the Cape is, the Thompson Hotel. And, and I figured that would give me a little bit more time to either relax or do more site visits or whatever it is that I wanted to do, explore the region a little bit more. And once I decided that's what I was doing with Cabo, again, I assumed that was going to be my only travel for 2020, basically. And so I said, well, why don't I go and do a little bit of a road trip in California and see some of my friends, because I used to live out there, and also just kind of see what it's like to travel during this time and what different hotels are doing. And it was hilarious because my friend and I, we originally were like, oh my God, we're going to go here, 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 and here. Because one of my best friends, that's also an agent, lives in Southern California. And we were going to go to site visits everywhere. And then we realized no, it is a pandemic. We need to maybe be a little bit more conservative, slow down. And so we just decided to pare it down to really 3 main destinations and stay a little bit longer and kind of. We did a little bit of everything. We stayed in hotels, we stayed in a campsite, and we stayed in a private home. So we got a little bit of everything on that trip. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And just off the bat, the brilliance of this move is given the restrictions we have on traveling to Europe. And, if you've seen Julia before, she is a Francophile. She loves everything about Paris and France. And right now, of course, she's struggling to sell that because she'd have to book very far in advance with a lot of confidence that it's going to be fixed by then. And so what she's already doing strategically is shifting towards destinations that you can book now. So that gives her a chance to maybe put some cash in her bank account because Mexico is open and California domestically is open. So great ideas there. Mm-hmm. So as you're preparing for the trip, you also, I would imagine, because LeBlanc and the Thompson are, upper scale type of properties. So you were still looking at a kind of vacation that would fit your ideal client. It wasn't like you looked at properties that might have, been for just anybody. You still stayed strategically sort of in your client's niche.
Yeah. I wanted to stay in places that I would want to send clients. for sure.
Right.
And that's also why California, we specifically stayed in a Virtuoso property in Santa Barbara to, understand what that property is like and understand what that experience is like for our clients. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And then you went down to Catalina.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which looked gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. And that was our little piece, because going out to Catalina is not something that a typical like tourist going to California is going to do. Neither of us had ever done, and we've both lived in California for many years. And so that was a special, and it's also logistically like a lot more challenging than either of us realized, just because you have to ferry over there. And then with COVID, a lot of things aren't running the way that they normally run. And so we started in Catalina, and we decided to just do a one night overnight camp, explore the island. And we did everything you could do. We snorkeled, we took a land trip, saw the buffalo, and it's beautiful. I really, really loved Catalina.
So right now we're taking you through, and see if I can halt it. No, I can't. I'm taking you through Julia's California road trip Instagram feed, and she started you at the airport because right now that is a big concern of people. I wish I could pause it. Can I?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe just click your mouse and hold it down. Maybe see if that works.
Yep.
That's what you do on the phone. Well.
No, it won't. But what I loved about this was she took you from that moment of departure. For anybody who has not flown lately, that is a big concern for people. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And if you hear Julia's voice or feed, she's saying, this is how it feels. This is what the airport terminal looks like. Here's the Belmont.
Yeah.
This property looked amazing.
It was such a beautiful property, and I did not do it justice. I even looking at my photos, like I didn't do it justice. It's a beautiful property.
Oh my gosh. It looks exactly like the kind of property people need to book right now. It's got a lot of nature around you. It looks peaceful and serene.
And it's all very spread out. And it
is?
It's very spread out. It's a bunch of small like casitas, really. It's not like a big main building with, it does have a big main building where the restaurant and the stuff like that is, but all of the rooms are spread out,
right.
Amongst the grounds and everything like that. So it's that's one of the reasons we wanted to explore the property. So
I wish I could hold on a second. One of the things that I love about your photography is the way that you try to put something in the foreground. This is such an effective use of pictures that, Julia's got the glasses and, nice little advertisement for the winery.
Yeah,
but
you gotta give
the
them
way that, pardon?
You got to give the wineries plugs, They didn't,
absolutely.
None of these wineries hosted us or anything like that. This is just places that we, through various reasons, we did talk to Visit Santa Barbara, we did talk to a wine tour operator and all that good stuff, but we didn't set up anything really in advance, that was sponsored or anything like that. But, if we're experiencing good things, I want to share them. And so if anyone's just following, they can experience these good things too.
She's constantly tagging her service providers. I love it. So now you can click over and, think about them. I love the In-N-Out Burger. I have so many friends who do this.
And that got the most reaction from this whole story. Everyone was like, yes, or I think it's overrated. Everyone just really has opinions about it. It's funny.
But the reason why it gets such great play is because it's an icon. It's an icon of California.
Yeah.
And if you're traveling there, you probably have heard of it. So Julia's giving you a reminder that you can do these iconic experiences, even if it's something as goofy as pulling into an In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
but there she is. I love I love your use of the stickers. I am not good at that. I always forget to do that.
I generally don't. I use them just occasionally for effect.
Yep. But if you don't get the sense of how easy it is to travel right now in a safe way from these pictures, the outdoors, the open spaces, the food is gorgeous.
It was
But
just at our house, our rental house that we did.
And it puts me at ease to see smiling faces traveling.
Yeah.
And Julia, you did a wonderful job with this series.
Thank you.
The idea that
what you just said about being outdoors, I hadn't been. I mean, we live on the East Coast, and so we have some beautiful weather. But there's something about California that you're just this is hilarious. Nobody really got it, but yeah, I had a wet foot for the rest of this hike. But yeah, I was outdoors like every day, eating outdoors and just being outside and just seeing the ocean. And I mean, by the time I left Cabo, I was like, what am I going to do not looking at the ocean every day? I mean, it was really nice. And so that's what I try and show. I try and show both when I'm wearing a mask and when we're not, because we did wear masks a lot in California, especially on Catalina. They really wanted you to have masks on everywhere.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, gorgeous shots of the spaces. They're peaceful places. So many of us are pining for peace and serenity, even if it's not overtly in the front of our, lobes. Mm-hmm. We are inclined to look for experiences that kind of give us those moments, and you captured so many of them. Mm-hmm. The one where you talked about your morning walk, again, Julie is telling the potential traveler, you can go somewhere, and then this is an experience you can do in this place, that you can get out on a trail, that you can be close to a beautiful place in nature. These pictures are obviously a lot more urban, totally different look and feel to them. Yep. And, a different experience. Would I post pictures of walking through what part of LA were you in?
So this is in Santa Monica, and this is a new hotel called the Proper Hotel, which is a new chain. Yep. And it's beautiful 5-star luxury hotels, but with a sense of place and so you might want to exit out because now we're going to go back. Yeah. Anyway. Yep. But the Proper it's a new chain, and they've got one in Austin. They've got one in San Francisco. But the reason I really loved that particular hotel was how much outdoor space it did have, being located in Santa Monica. It has this amazing rooftop. It's when you come out of the elevator, you walk out into, open air, and then you go into a hallway to get to the room or whatever. And I think all of the rooms had windows that opened. Like it was I really liked that hotel a lot. So I wanted to show people how much I liked it and what a great option it could be if you're in California and or even maybe you're in LA and you just want to get away, but you don't feel comfortable really like going far.
Yep. Did you imitate that particular experience on Facebook as well? For some reason, I was getting pinged by you on Instagram, but I wasn't getting notifications on Facebook. So I didn't check to see what your Facebook feed looked like.
Yeah. So all of those stories got automatically shared to my Facebook stories as well, but my business page Facebook stories. And and I also, even though this is not my favorite, but when you're traveling, it's just what it is. Any of the daily posts that I did, I also shared those from my Instagram feed to my Facebook page, which I think is probably not the best way of doing it and getting interaction and stuff like that. But for me, when I'm traveling, I just want to post it once and then move on with my day. That's one thing is like, I mean, that looked like a lot, but I would sort of go about my day, take my pictures and stuff like that. And then at the end of the day, or maybe at the next morning, I would post up, a handful of stories from the day before that morning or, that day. So it's not like I don't do stories instantaneously as they happen generally. I just don't have the bandwidth. And also I think it's, especially when you're traveling with friends, you want to be in the moment with your friends, not, constantly.
And it doesn't really matter to us following you. Mm-hmm. We don't really care that it's not live. Now, unfortunately, Facebook wants us to do it live. They are going to show it to more people if we did it live versus something we uploaded later. So that is that's their aggravating algorithm.
Yeah,
Um,
but
did anybody touch base with you? Did you get anybody saying, "Wow, I wasn't thinking about California, but you kind of caught my interest."
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I've gotten any bookings exactly, but for
Right.
sure, I've, gotten people that have said like, oh, wow, I need to get out. Like, this looks great. Or, and I think also just by showing people that you can travel in a safe way. And by the way, I did take a COVID test before I left, and I took one about a week after I got home and was negative both
Right.
times. So it is possible to do it responsibly and carefully. So I think just even
How
just
did
it's helpful.
Did you see any difference in the engagement between your videos at the airport, where you were talking about security and safety and what the experience was like? Did you see that some garnered more than maybe the actual fun shots, demonstrating perhaps where people's minds are at?
So this is what I've noticed with Instagram stories, and so they only last for 24 hours, right?
Right.
And so that's also why I sort of post 4 or 5 or however many it is at one time, and then I leave it alone, because what I've
Right.
noticed is that first story that you post in a day is always going to get the most, and then depending on how good you are, how long people will click through and stay with you right through your
Right.
story. And so I don't want to ever have 25 stories in one day, because no one's going to click through all of them. It's
Yeah.
some amazing something. If it's that amazing, then do a live video or do something different. So I just try and do a couple highlights from the day, and it's like I said, it is actually like the airport stuff. Fine, sure, people were interested and saw it, partly also because it was the beginning.
Right.
But I'm telling you, it's the stuff like the In-N-Out burger, or the first shot of the day that is either me smiling or a particularly pretty view or something like that, that people will
Yep.
that people will see the most and react to the most. So
And if
that's
you
one thing.
notice that,
Start off with a bang.
if you notice at the end of Julia's trip to California, as she's heading to Cabo, she posted a picture of her leaving LAX, or wherever you were at the time. I don't know if that was LAX or not. Actually, it doesn't look like LAX because it was right up against the water. But she put bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
She closed out the story. It feels like an entire package. And that's the way the human brain works. That, when people tell you storytelling makes a person's brain remember something, that little touch, the bye-bye with the airplane wing, closes that part of the brain out. And they're like, oh, that was the whole California trip. Than having to click through just a bunch of, Facebook videos that you posted in your feed or your Instagram feed.
Mm-hmm.
That's great storytelling. And it was one of the reasons why I loved it so much.
Thank you. Yeah,
So
that's what people have told me. I mean, you always learn stories have a beginning, middle, and end, right? But I think just from watching so many other people's, I follow a lot of travel bloggers and other travel advisors and things like that, and influencers, obviously, and so that whole, like, being able to break it into chunks that are digestible, that people can kind of see the beginning, middle, and end, helps
right.
them. It makes it, and then plus it's easy to gather into a highlight on your feed.
You know what? Anything we can do to make it easier?
Yeah, it's true.
So then you took the quick jaunt from the LA area down to Cabo. You'd never been there before.
Right.
So you kind of didn't know what to expect, but you're an experienced travel advisor. You know what LeBlanc is about because so many people, our friends, have been there. What were you thinking as you were going there? Were you thinking at all about, I've got these clients, I know what they like to do when they go to Europe, but they can't right now. This is what I'm going to look to present to them in my Instagram feed, or was it not that planned out?
No, I'm not that. I don't have that much foresight, and I apologize. There's clearly someone walking by, so my dog might bark a bit. But
That's okay.
So I don't have that much foresight into it. I just kind of, again, just try and show people what strikes me.
Right.
Yes, I have some things that I know that I want to include, but I also just sort of like, I love taking pictures in general. So I'm just sort of taking pictures. And then it's like I said, at the end of the day, I look at what I have and I make like, okay, this is what happened today. And I sort of tell that story. Um, and so that's kind of what I do. And you also know that like there are certain shots that you want to get. You need a glory shot of your view, or
Right.
everybody is curious about what's in the mini bar, and what's your bathroom look like, and um,
Right.
stuff like that.
And so what you're going to see now, I'm going to share the screen in a minute as we go to Los Cabos highlights, is again, look for the elements of the trip as a story. And, I'm a
Oh, and there's
56-year-old
also,
guy.
sorry if I can break in, there's something interesting about Cabo. Is I did a takeover for my host agency that same week. They asked me to do it.
Yes.
And so
Yep.
it was a challenge because I had to think about, what does my host agency feed need to show versus what do my followers need to see? And I've seen other takeovers where they just share the same thing to both accounts. And I could have done that, but I didn't think that was right. And so it made me think about it more on this time. So maybe that's why it was better. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, you sold me. I've not been to Cabo. I've been to Mexico a dozen. Cabo, and seeing these properties was just freaking awesome.
Yeah, I thought I was super impressed. So
let's click all the way back. So again, here you go. There's a passport in the picture. And now we're arriving at LeBlanc. Part
and
of LeBlanc
didn't even do a good enough job with this because I didn't show all the different sanitary things they did and what entering was like. Like it got really busy and stuff. So yeah.
What I like about the entry shot, I'm going to try to click back real quick, is that LeBlanc has a style to it, and you immediately start to see it from the lobby. Look at what's hanging in the ceiling. Look at all the marble.
Yeah.
It just immediately tells you, do I want to be at this property? Always love the drinks.
Yeah.
But again, look at what Julia, does. She takes, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that those drinks, so I don't have the Boomerang app on my phone, which is ridiculous. So, but we were choosing during our site visit. So actually that was the next day and I had to do that one live. So then I was like, wait, let me go back and tell you about last night before I catch back up to where I am today. So that's why about last night,
love the smiling shots that puts us in the scene. Julia's got a really nice angle for her food shots. So you'll see that all the time. I'm not sure what this was part of a celebration.
They set off fireworks for our arrival. And so this is the arch that was at the end of that patio. And a lot of people get married in front of that and it's beautiful. And so I just happen to get a good angle.
Right now, we need as many smiles as we can.
Yeah.
Now
and then
here
the obligatory room tour.
Yep, you got to do the obligatory room tour.
Yeah.
The standalone tubs are just such a rage now. Everybody's got them.
Well, and I need I actually was looking at doing a post on Friday, but I didn't have the right photos for it. I did take a bath at every one of the nice properties I stayed at. I wanted to do a sort of bathtub comparison because there's
so I'm gonna
too big of a bath, I will tell you.
I wish I could stop it because what do you think? How do you think tubs? I'm going to stop it and then I'll find my way back.
That's fine.
How do you think tubs sell a room? Because I've always wondered about that. I'm a guy. It showers for me. I can't remember the last time I hopped in a tub.
Yeah.
But how do you think that impacts someone's desire to book a trip when they see that?
There's just something romantic about the idea of like sitting in the bubbles with a view. And that's why like no bathtub is not all bathtubs are equal, right? Because, and I'll just say it here, the bathtub at El Encanto was massive and it was in we had a huge bathroom and it was beautiful. This was in Santa Barbara. But I took a bath after we had hiked or something the one day and it was too big. I'm short. I'm only like 5'2", and I mean, I literally was like swimming in this bathtub and like couldn't like really relax and like lay, and you know, and stuff. And so then I go to the LeBlanc, and it's a beautiful bathtub, and you can see out. I could see out from there, but it was still in the bathroom, which is fine. Ideally, you want your bathtub in the bathroom, but that's becoming a trend in hotels, is to have it open to the room, to the views outside, you know, which has its pros and cons. But the thing with LeBlanc that made it special was that you ask your butler to draw you your bath. So I came home from my excursion one day, and I had asked my butler, I was like, oh guys, I have to go. My butler drew my bath and I have an appointment for a bath. I mean, what? But yeah, so I went in there, and he had like asked me what kind of salts I wanted. Did I want invigorating? Did I want a specific scent? Blah, blah, blah. And it was bubbles, and it was hot. It was hot. I don't know how like on time I was, but it was still very, very hot. And they had that nice thing under the bath. And so that was a fantastic bathtub. But again, the tub was awfully, awfully large, which is not a complaint I thought I would ever have. So by the time I got to Thompson, where the bathtub was just freestanding and out in the middle of the room, which again, pros and cons. That was like the perfect size. And though I was missing my butler bubbles and all that good jazz, but you know, so there's something about a bathtub and just being able to, the luxury of taking a bath and having the time to stop and take a bath and luxuriate and pamper yourself. That's sort of what I think is such a sell for a bathtub.
And I'll tell you, the way you just said it finally gave me the understanding of who that ideal client is. It's someone who truly appreciates that kind of luxuriousness, that self-indulgence, and that it's a good thing for us to do that for ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know, if I think back to all of my most recent vacations, or they're mostly business trips, it was go, 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 go. About 3-4 years ago. And when she and I traveled, we looked for those self-indulgent, you know, downtime. And so if I was to see your video, I would think to that person and go, did you see what Julia was doing? That's us. I know that that's part of the experience that we're looking for, and that particular hotel will deliver that experience for us. So now it's starting to click for me, because normally it would not be an attraction to me.
Right.
But that's
I'm not a big bath person, actually. I know I have several friends who are big time bath people. They love taking baths. I like kind of want to get things done more, but it is nice.
Right, yeah. Let me take my shower. I got back from a long hike. I want the dirt off of me. I want the sweat off of me, but I want the shower because I want to go sit out on the patio for an hour before I go down to dinner. I'm thinking that versus sitting in the tub. So it would have to be attracting to me from the point of who I was going with.
Right.
So now you're taking us through the rest of it. Why did you think it was important to go over things like the mini bar and the
because it's not, well, so first of all, so many hotels, especially not all-inclusive hotels, have either just empty fridges now, or it's that kind of mini bar where if you pick up the Snickers and then you look at it for more than 10 seconds, you're going to get charged for it. And so this was just reinforcing that it's all inclusive, and they mean like anything. Like you can make yourself shots of tequila or rum or whatever in the room. So
I saw your tequila shot later on. I loved it.
Yeah.
So
amazing I think I mentioned it in this. That this is
an amazing view.
Yeah, but this is the entry level. They didn't give us nice rooms. This is a partial ocean view, which I mean, that is a better view from the top of the hotel.
Right. And Cabo definitely has a different feel to it. It's more rockier. It's drier, it seems, in Cancun. It doesn't seem as tropical. And I kind of got that watching your videos, and when you take us to downtown Cabo and you take us for some of the other things, you can see that it's a different kind of Mexico experience. Love the churros.
It's one of my favorite experiences.
I typically can't find Pacifico where I live. So this is, I love this part because now you're over at the Thompson.
And this was live. Like I decided to do this like in the moment because I was so excited about the hotel.
Oh
Because
my
it has a
God, the
very different
tiles.
view and a different vibe. And so I was
When
just
you
like,
walked into the bathroom, the thing I first said to myself was, I love that blue. It was the
yeah,
first
right?
thing I thought to myself. I
Yeah.
was like, look at that blue.
Yeah,
There's the
it was beautiful.
freestanding tub.
And it didn't even photograph. It was like I don't know, it didn't look as navy in person, but it was a great bath.
Sometimes you have to take a video to get the colors.
Mm-hmm.
Video's the only true, colorful. I posted some pictures about fall Friday, I think,
Yeah.
and the pictures came out prettier than it actually was. It was like the camera did something to the colors.
Yeah.
There we go, the sanitizer kit.
Yeah, which they had at LeBlanc, but I didn't feel the need
Right.
to post.
Nope. This hotel, did it feel very different from LeBlanc, or were there a lot of similarities?
No, it was very different. Had a very different vibe, very different personality. It was, it was just totally different. I mean, this hotel is like only 10 minutes outside of Cabo. You can see the arch, El Arco from
Uh-huh.
it
Did
was
it
a
feel
sexy
more colonial?
like the swing on the balcony. They both had tequila, but like no, like and like the accordion doors that opened all the way up. That was a nice touch. And
yes, very nice.
And this is much more of an ocean front. Well, it had, I don't know, they were just very different. This is not a huge resort with 50 bajillion people. This
Right.
a quarter of the size.
So there's the main pool. If you can see it, I'm going to try to go back. Watch for the main pool.
Yeah.
And look at all the umbrellas, because there's something that Julia and I have talked about, because I'm like her. I seek out the quiet places at my resorts. I truly want that serenity. So you can see the main pool down there to the left.
Yeah.
Sorry. And no, that's okay. So there's the main activity. And I would imagine that's where most people go. But there you go. Do you see that little pool down there? That
was the pool sort of.
Yep. Amazing, stark difference in the landscape. It looks like California, but it doesn't look like Cancun, people. Right. And again, that's what I love about Julia's pictures, is they really give the viewer the ability to go, oh, even if you've never been there, you now have had an understanding of what the landscape looks like. And if that appeals to you, and it does to me, I like that kind of stark, almost reminds me a little bit of Greece.
Yeah.
I like that as a difference to the typical, Caribbean lush kind of experience,
Mm-hmm.
the Jamaica experience.
Mm-hmm.
I love your choice of breakfast.
Yeah.
And then, like she said, this particular property is close to downtown, so now you can go do things. And I loved the picture of the estuary, because that makes me realize, okay, there are places to go that are going to kind of be a contradiction to sort of the desert.
Yeah, it was really fascinating to see that. And we were super impressed with this town. I mean, it was really, really cute. I mean, we ate in an actual like locals restaurant, it was.
So I'm going to go back to that local restaurant, because this is a money shot. Look at that. It was bubbling.
Really, really cute. It was sizzling in an actual and delicious. Gooey.
Exactly. It almost, because the food now comes to life in a video versus a static photograph. And Julia really captured, like, one of the things about Mexican food is when it's prepared that way and delivered to you.
We're super impressed with this town. I mean, it was
doesn't that
really
immediately
cute.
make your senses go crazy? I love your caption here, because, like you, I like cover bands. I want to hear some songs that I've known. And so she's telling you about this rooftop bar and what it's like to be there. Because it's the experiences that we're going for, too. It's not just the pools and the butlers and the rooms.
Yeah.
At night at 7 or 8 o'clock and the sun's going down, what's going on at the resort?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Just absolutely. Yeah.
We're done.
I'm just going to.
I didn't finish up. I meant to finish. There's some, and I haven't done it.
Oh, my God. That smoothie looks delicious.
It was so good.
My God. The syrup dripping down. It's just.
It was so good.
You nailed it. You nailed all the senses. Even though I can't taste it, you know what syrup tastes like when it's dripping through a shake. You know what it tastes like, and you captured it so well. That's when I say to people, storytelling can happen on social, and they ask me how. It's such a variety of things. It depends on what you're trying to get across. And, if this was a family vacation, the travel advisor wouldn't have done those same things.
Absolutely.
They would have chosen different scenes. If it was trying to do like a romance travel trip, maybe you would have wanted more like birds chirping in the morning outside of your balcony or something, or the swim up pools. You would find different ways to make the experience come alive.
Right.
For me, if I was to take a woman away for 3 or 4 nights, I could describe it to her from what you just did, and that would sell it.
Well, good. That's the goal, right? And that's the other thing. Marvelously. Something I feel like watching it back now, I'm like, there's not a lot of pool shots, because that's really a lot of what I did is hung out by the pool, because you can't swim in the ocean in Cabo, even though it's gorgeous. Right. But then again, people are going to get tired of just seeing you at the pool 20 times, So yes. Try and find your best, that shot of the Pacifico. Like, I'm having a beer in the pool and it's pretty. Done, moving on. Right. You get the idea. You don't need to see 30 pictures of me frolicking in the pool or sitting.
I'm laying by the pool, right. And the person, the server, is bringing me my incredible protein shake, which is ice cold and so tasty. And it's that experience, because that's kind of probably what people go to Cabo for. You go to Cancun to frolic in the water. Maybe you also hang out by the swim up bars, yada, yada, yada. Cabo is different, and you really kind of brought it out. Okay. I've done downtown Playa del Carmen, and you kind of get the touristy Mexican food. I would imagine Los Cabos is more authentic. I don't know that it's as overrun yet.
No, Cabo San Lucas is pretty touristy. I did not show any pictures because I didn't spend any time in Cabo San Lucas. The town I went to was San Jose del Cabo. Those were the pictures.
San Jose.
And it was also touristy, but it at least, like, the buildings were from, I don't know, 100 years ago or something. Not 100 years ago, maybe a couple of them.
Right.
But that's that's one of the things is I took a Tours by Local tour where she taught us about the history of Los Cabos and the development of it, and how in the 70s, the mayor of the area just said, look, we're going to depend on tourism and we're going to lean into tourism. And so, right. Maybe that's the difference, is it's really only been in the last 50 years that it's been developed. But, I'm glad it doesn't feel overrun and it's not as crowded. It's a bigger area, but that area between Los Cabos, between San Jose del Cabo and the point Cabo San Lucas, that's a big area. It's a good half an hour between the two towns, if not maybe a little more. And so it's not hotel, 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 hotel. Like they have right. bigger areas. There's, yes, there are hotels next to each other, but it's not like you can they're not piled on top of each other.
Right. Now, I had a couple of friends who went to Los Cabos, and they stayed right by the marina. They stayed right near downtown, and their pictures definitely reflected a different place than that you showed.
And Cabo San Lucas, like I said, it is very touristy, and it is hotel, 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 hotel right there. And so you could see that from the Thompson, because of the curve of the bay, you could see the, I guess, hotel zone or whatever in downtown, but you were away from it a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And that one shot,
surf spot, and it was cool. And yeah.
There was one shot that you had, I don't know if it was at the LeBlanc or at the Thompson, where I guess it was going away from the Los Cabos area, and it was going towards that rock formation to the other side of the hotel, and it felt remote. And again, if I'm going somewhere, that's where I'm going. And you told that story without actually having to say it. You showed it. Yeah. And that is the best. The best storytelling is that you show it versus tell it. And this lady is marvelous at doing that.
Thank you. Kind of you to say.
Well,
It takes a lot of practice. If you look at some of my other highlights, they aren't as good of a story. So,
oh, we can't be a superstar all the time. That's a high standard to set. Julia, thank you so much. Believe it or not, we've probably been at this for about 50 minutes now. I always adore spending time with you. Your smile, your approach to your work and to the places that you see, just, you know what? I got to get out. I've got to go somewhere soon too.
It's really, really important. Like, yeah, for me, especially, it just resuscitates me. So.
And I think, the more travel advisors reflect that emotional part of their trips, I think the more we'll get people to travel again, because that trigger in our mind of, I know I'm worn down, I know I haven't gone anywhere and I've hunkered in, and now I'm watching somebody who says, wow, I am releasing all of that. Where I went helped me, detox from all of that. That's a huge selling point for people who are still on the fence. So I'm hoping we're going to see more of that in the next.
Well, and to be able to do it safely. I mean, like today, everyone, and I have this conversation with my own family members, about, airplanes and the air, and we all have had to learn about air filtration systems and and how that all works. And, for me to have done all of that, and it was a little over 2 weeks, and I didn't maybe show enough of all of the sanitary measures, because Mexico does a ton. We got our temperature taken all the time. And especially the Thompson was very conscientious about masks in public areas, even though it's a very open air hotel. They wouldn't let me run into the bathroom from the pool without having a mask on. So, I didn't maybe show enough of that because I didn't want to dwell on that. But I feel like my job is to show people how it is to safely travel now, and that it is possible. So.
Yep. And if I was doing an email campaign with Julia, that's what I would do. Is I would draft an email and I would link them over to the Instagram and say, are you looking for that release? Have you had enough of this craziness? And you'll feel better, you'll work better, your relationships will be better if one or more of you can go somewhere and take care of yourself. And I can help you do it safely. And then link me over to her Instagram feed to the highlight of Los Cabos. You got me. I'm done.
Well, good.
Julia, please stay safe. Can't wait to see. I'm going to follow you in Africa now.
I know.
I'll be looking for my notification.
Connectivity I'll have there, but we'll see. I'll do what I can.
I will. Like I said, I'll be following you because I need it.
Well, take care. I hope we make it there. Thank you.
Always good to see you.
You too.